What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 64 of the Hoop Venue podcast. My name is Tyler, and as always, I'm joined by my great friend, Sean. We are a week into the NBA season, and so naturally, we're going to go finish our top 25 rankings from the 2025 season, like most elite basketball podcasts would do. No, this is the only show where you will get player rankings from a prior season during a new season. No, life got in the way. We apologize greatly for starting a rankings, an off-season ranking series, getting like 8 episodes deep, and then right when we were getting to like the heaviest hitting portion of the series, just vanishing off the face of the earth and leaving you all wondering if there's even a podcast anymore. Yes, there is. We're alive. The Hoop Venue podcast goes on. So, Sean, how you feeling about today's top 25 list?
Honestly, this is one of the few times I've looked at my list since we last recorded. So it'll be a fun conversation as always.
Yeah, in this one, we owe it to the people who were invested in the rankings to at least finish it out, at least get the rankings out there into the realm of the world, and not just keep them to ourselves. But most of you probably aren't too interested in prior season rankings. I mean, if you are, that's awesome. We're not going to do the whole like 30-minute segment on every single player and like we've been doing in the past. We're going to try and just fly through the rest of the list, get the rankings out there, and then talk about more relevant stuff that's actually happening in the new NBA season. So if you're more interested in just the new stuff, you can go ahead and probably skip 15 or 20 minutes. I don't know how long this will be. But for all of you who are just interested in the rankings, we're gonna recap where we've been in the series so far, and then kind of just finish out the top 25 players list. So if you're unfamiliar altogether with the series that we did during the offseason, we ranked our top 10 scorers, playmakers, and offensive players, our top 10 defenders at each position, and the finale was going to be the top 25 players, and we made it like to like number 19, and then just cut off the rest of the list because we don't care. No, in all seriousness. We talked about regular season versus playoff guys, like players whose performance or impact, I should say, on the team in the regular season and playoffs is drastically different. We talked about James Harden and Jamal Murray. We talked about some big men in Cat, Jaren, Bam, and Ivica Zubac, and none of them ended up making our top 25, I don't think. I think you had Bam originally, then bumped him off. Or did you still have Bam in your top 25? I can't remember.
I still had Bam. Bam was 25th.
Bam was his number 25. So Bam was my number 26, I want to say. My first guy off, maybe 27, second guy off, whatever. One thing that we emphasized like throughout this list. Oh yeah, also I should mention before we get too deep, I feel like I always forget this. 41 game minimum. So there were injury omissions. Joel Embiid, Zion, Kawhi Leonard, and Chet. None of them were eligible, and both of us were trying to. The goal of our rankings was to determine who the most valuable players are on the court if you're trying to win a championship. So if the goal is to win a championship, these are the players you want on your team at full health with a minimum of 41 games. That was kind of the way we both went about it. And of course, the end goal, that's the end goal. How we get there is different, so we don't have the exact same list. But that's the gist of it. We talked about some offense first guys. Tyrese Maxey's a big one who's kind of looked like he's on another level to start this NBA season, but neither of us had him in our top 25 from last year. De'Aaron Fox hasn't played yet. Neither of us had him in our top 25. Trae Young, I don't think much has changed with him, but both of us had him in our top 25. Sean had him 21st, I believe you said it was, and I had him 25th. He was my number 25. John Morant was another guy we already talked about. Neither of us had him. You didn't have John in your top 25, did you?
No, I did not. I did not have John in my top 25.
Neither of us had John on our list, and one of the big talking points with him was how much of his production last year was slippage versus the new offensive system. That's still something to track this season because it looks like they've gone a little bit more Jaw-centric again to start this early part of the season, and he looks pretty good. So maybe he'll be making an appearance on the top 25 next year, but from last year, did not make it. Paolo Banchero is another guy we already talked about. Neither of us had him in our top 25. And one of the big talking points I've written down here from last time we talked about Paolo, was how much of his issues with the plus-minus data and the efficiency and the turnovers are self-inflicted, and how much of them are a result of the team construct and the system in place. The Magic this year brought in Desmond Bane. They brought in Tyus Jones. They've revamped the system to bring in more pace and not much has changed with Paolo. And one of the big talking points, like if you're on Twitter, has been Paolo isn't a good player, which I don't agree with. I think Paolo's a good player. I still think he's someone that should be in consideration for this list. Neither of us had him in our top 25, though, and I don't regret that so far to start this season. Have you noticed anything with Paolo specifically that kind of makes rubs you the wrong way and makes you a little bit lower on him to start the season?
Not necessarily much more than like all the reasons that we already had to be like. I don't want to say lower on Paolo is the word, but have him off our list to begin with. I do think that it's been somewhat noticeable. Like Franz has just been more impactful this season,
Sure.
And honestly, the offense like is what it is. But like the concerning part about the Magic as a team so far is they gave up 121 to Miami. Who knows at this point? Like Miami might be a boat racer of an offense, although we talked off camera that might be a little bit gimmicky. And then you gave up 136 to the Sixers, where I think I saw a stat on Twitter like the Magic defensively have done something in the first 4 games that they never did last season, and not in a good way. Or sorry, that they did over the duration of a full season last year. And they did it in 4 games, and not in a good way. Just the amount of points they've given up in individual games. And that's kind of the bigger thing. Like, I think their offensive floor is decently higher than what it's been in the past. And really, it's just like, can these dudes stay healthy? And Desmond Bain isn't a 27% 3-point shooter through 4 games. Like, we know that's fake. But like, God, can they like get back to defending? That's the thing with the Magic, and I don't want to make this a big Magic spiel, but just gonna loop that into the conversation.
No, it's cool. We're talking about 2 seasons at once here, so you can make any comparisons you want. The Magic so far to start the season have the number 24 offense and the number 16 defense. So to your point, like I think the number 24 offense is kind of the type of range that you would maybe expect the Magic to be in, or maybe pushing into the top 20 a little bit. But the number 16 defense is not what we've gotten used to with Orlando, and some of that is probably just sample size. I think some of that, too, is adjusting to the new pace. Like, they're playing really fast, whereas for years, they were the slowest team in basketball. Like, they were so slow last year, and I think that was a big part of why they were able to always have a set defense. That was, like, their priority over the getting out and running. It's about finding that balance. I don't think it'll stay this bad. One thing that I do I think this is so important to note, and this is for more of my stat heavy guys. I'm not the type to just over index on numbers as this end all be all. Like I think there's a lot you can see on tape and a lot of context you can apply to numbers that will kind of give you a more well-rounded shaped analysis, if you will. But one trend throughout Paolo's career has been his on-off numbers, like the plus-minus numbers when he's on the court versus off the court. There's this very clear trend with the Magic that's like, if you take Paolo off the court, they're a really, really good team. And if you put them on the court, they're like average at best. And this has been consistent throughout his whole career. And I think there's a lot of context to be applied there where it's like Paolo sometimes is in these clunky lineups with the lesser talented players. Franz runs with the bench unit. Orlando's bench unit is better than their starters. So you get these minutes of like Franz, Goga, and Jonathan Isaac. And the team just looks really, really good defensively. And then Franz can lift the offense, whereas Paolo gets in these clunkier lineups with maybe a backcourt of 2 non-shooters and then Wendell Carter is the 5. And I think that's been a pretty consistent trend where Paolo is the one who's expected to raise the lesser units. Now, through 4 games, what we've seen with this Magic team, and I haven't looked at the plus-minus numbers yet because plus-minus numbers over a 4-game sample are an absolute travesty. I saw one that was like somebody posted Wemby had a plus 150 on off the other night. Like, okay, let's dodge the single game on off, please. I just don't think that's meaningful because there's it takes so many possessions. I just saw a tweet today from Basketball Index that said five-man lineup data. So not even just like one person's on and off, but a 5-man lineup needs 500 minutes to stabilize and give you like a consistent signal. So who knows? I think it's like 1,000 minutes for single players. My point being, through the first 4 games, Paolo and Desmond Bain are on the exact same rotation pattern. They come off the court together, they go onto the court together. So, if this year we still see a very consistent signal of Franz having these crazy plus-minus numbers and Paolo having these disastrous plus-minus numbers, now I'll be ready to say, okay, Paolo and Bain are coming on and off the court together and the team still is not feeling an impact, whereas anytime Franz comes off the court, the team collapses, it seems like. And that's when I'd be ready to make the conclusion, okay, this is Franz's team. If the data consistently, because it's already said that for 4 years now, or 3 years now, however long it's been. If it says it this year with Paolo and Bane on the exact same rotation pattern, there's no context that needs to be applied there. This is like year 4 now of Franz being that guy for the Magic. All that's to say, I just think it's been a slow start for Paolo. I actually think Paolo's looked a lot more bought in on defense. And he's clearly adjusting to a new role. A lot more possessions playing in the corner, playing as a screen and roll big with Bane handling the ball. They're kind of figuring things out, and I don't feel differently about Paolo in any meaningful way from last year. I still would have him probably somewhere in like the mid-30s, I think is where I had him last year.
Yeah.
Another guy we talked about who's actually also having a very slow start to the season, which I'm not over-indexing on at all, is Cade. Cade Cunningham is the guy we talked about. Both of us had him on our list. I had him, let me check. I had him number 21, I believe. Yeah, Cade was my number 21. Where'd you have Cade?
Cade was my number 19.
Okay. And I still feel pretty good about that. I think Cade is right in that range. Darius Garland, another guy we talked about. Garland was my number 24. He's yet to play this season. Do you have any thought? Did you have Garland on your list? I can't remember.
I had Garland right off. Garland was my first person off.
Okay. So Garland was my number 24. Dame was another guy we talked about. Obviously, nothing's going to change with him because he's out for the entire year. I had Dame 22nd. I had Dame 22nd. He was my number 22.
Dame, I had also 22.
Awesome. There we go. Great agreement. Kyrie, I had number 19. Did you have Kyrie on your list?
I had Kyrie 23.
23, okay. And I think that's everyone we talked about up to this point. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so that covers everyone we already talked about. Now we got to finish out this list. So I had 25 Trae Young we talked about. 24 Darius Garland we talked about. My 23 we never talked about, and that's Jaylen Brown. I had him 23rd. Did you have Jaylen Brown on your list?
I had JB 20.
20, yeah. I think the thing with Jaylen Brown, I feel like there was a little bit of a slippage in efficiency last year as a scorer, and also a little bit of slippage as a defender, which I think is just kind of like a motor thing. And to me, Jaylen Brown still, for all of the drawbacks with this game when it comes to like maybe you get some turnover problems, maybe he's like not the greatest 3-point shooter, so it's a little bit like the Celtics system definitely helps enhance his offensive game a lot. Still just this
needs a better barber.
Okay.
Oh, my bad.
No, I get that reference. That's a good reference. Jaylen Brown still is just this physically overwhelming slasher and transition weapon who's going to get downhill and create advantages. I think last year was his best year as a passer and decision maker, especially like they started running him a lot in lineups with Luke Cornett, and he showed a lot as an interior passer looking for those laydowns and things like that. And I think he jumped like an entire assist per game. And then, of course, you still get all this versatile man defense from Jaylen Brown. Even if the defense did slip a little bit from the championship run, still a guy who can comfortably switch 1 through 4, sometimes even to the 5. Just going to give you really good value at the point of attack and as a switchable guy that you can do a lot of things with. Off-ball defense can be a little spacey at times, but will occasionally make those plays. And I just think perfectly fine two-way wing that, like I said, if the goal is to win a championship, any team would want a guy like Jaylen Brown to be one of their supporting guys, for sure. Number 1 on a championship team, I can't see it. I don't think really anyone can. I do think he gets underrated as a number 1, which I think is something we're going to see this season. But I think if he's your number 2 or your number 3 on offense, you're in a great spot, in my opinion.
I honestly don't have like too much more to add on Jaylen Brown.
Okay, good. 22, Damian Lillard. 21, Cade Cunningham. 20, well, I think, okay, so once we get to number 20, oh wait, actually, we did talk about Kyrie at 19. So I'll talk about 20, and then we're going to get into players that we haven't talked about yet. Is there anyone in the back end of your top 25 that we haven't talked about, just before I get into some heavier hitters?
Nope. Everybody 20 on down. Actually, everybody 19 on down for me we've talked about.
Okay. My number 20 was Pascal Siakam. Did you have him on your list?
I did not.
You did not. Okay, so this is a guy I really wanted to talk about, and I'm mad that we didn't get to do a full episode on, because I think Siakam, and maybe you fall under this scope, I think Siakam might be the most underrated player in the league. We've talked about like this...
Because I'm not even mad or think it's crazy.
I actually, so my range for Siakam is 17 to 33. So again, we're talking about huge ranges of like, if you have him in the out of your top 25, I can't hate on it. Like I said, I think a lower end would be like 33. I could get him up to number 17 on my list though. And we've talked about this like jack of all trades, master of none type of player a lot. And Pascal Siakam is to me just the epitome of this. I do think the Pacers amplify his offensive game with the pace, with having a lead creator in Halliburton to put him in the right spots. But he can do literally everything on offense. He's a mismatch demon who can post up or face up and isolate with a live dribble. He can play off the catch. He can handle the ball or screen in the pick and roll. He's elite in transition. He can pass. He can hit difficult shots. And then last year, he just legitimately added a great three-point shot. He shot 39% on 4 attempts a game in the regular season, 43% on 4 attempts a game in the playoffs. So Siakam is just this ultimate offensive chess piece that's like, hey, you could be our point guard, you could be our center, you could be our 2, 3, or 4. And on this offensive system in Indiana that enables everyone to handle the ball, everyone to make decisions, everyone to play fast, Siakam just has this super high floor of like, you're always going to get this efficient 20. And then the ceiling is what we saw in the conference finals where he's just torching the Knicks with ease, like torching OG Anunoby in single coverage and torching bigs. He's too fast for bigs. He's too physical for wings. To me, Siakam's just this awesome offensive player. And we've seen that he can be the number one on a playoff team. Like, I actually think this version of Pascal is the best version of Pascal on offense. But if you go back to like 2023, the Raptors put him in this point forward role where he has to average 6 or 7 assists. And he's lifting them to like 45 win seasons. So I do think Siakam is just an incredibly underrated offensive player. And I do think he slipped a bit as a defender from what we saw in Toronto, but still throughout their playoff run, a very strong, positive, versatile defensive chess piece who you can put on multiple positions. You can use him as a weak side rim protector. You can use him in screening action in different ways defensively. I just think Siakam's an awesome, awesome two-way player, and I think he deserves a lot of credit for what Indiana did in that playoff run.
I think, again, like I said, like off rip, I can't even be mad, or I don't think it's crazy. I think Siakam is a super, super good shout. I think because of all the versatility things that he provides, to your point, he's one of the most, like, just scheme adaptable number 2 options in the entire league. Like if I'm a team that just needs a number 2, like Pascal Siakam has to be like towards the top of that list of guys that I want to pair next to my lead creator because of all the different stuff he can do. And I'm not like trying to make this a Cat Brunson thing, but can you imagine like Siakam next to Brunson a little bit? Like it's hard for me not to think about that at least a little bit. Because of all the different things Siakam provides, like you said, as a screener, as a floor spacer, as a guy that can just hunt mismatches and give you a legitimate second half court engine. Yeah, no, Siakam, I'm actually a little pissed I didn't consider him more. That's a good shout, and I have no major gripes.
Another thing that gets underrated with Siakam is we always talk about like the reason the Pacers are such a low turnover team is because Halliburton like handling the ball as much as he does and not making errors. But also Siakam will go into these playoff series and turn the ball over 5 times in 6 games. Like when that's your number 2 and your number 1, your team's not going to turn the ball over. Siakam to me is just an awesome player. I love Siakam. And what's funny is I actually do remember vividly, and maybe I shouldn't even get into this because I'm not talking about consensus, but in these Twitter circles that we're in, like where people are very analytically driven, I'll say, I do remember back in like 2022 or 2023, I was a bit lower on Siakam than a lot of these analytical guys, because I do think I was over-indexing, and this was just a flaw in my analysis back then, over-indexing on like first option Siakam and like his efficiency woes because he wasn't hitting these like true shooting percentage markers. And I do think back then he was a little bit higher turnover, and then the defensive motor started to slip because he was asked to do so much offensively that like I overlooked just how skilled of a scorer this guy is. And then last year adding the 3-ball with volume, it's just like now we're talking about a 3-level on and off ball weapon who can defend, who can play make. He's awesome. I love Siakam, man.
In 2 playoff large playoff sample sizes, we're talking about 40 games with the Pacers in the playoffs in 2 seasons. He averages 1.1 turnovers and 1.3 turnovers a game.
Yeah, crazy stuff. And Also, like I didn't look at the numbers for 2025, but I know in the 2024 playoffs, Siakam was like 1.3 points per post up or something absolutely absurd. So when that's like your half court weapon outside of pick and roll, you're in a great spot. And also his ability to fit into the pick and roll offense as an off the catch guy or as the screener. Yeah, Siakam's awesome. Siakam's awesome, and he's a big part of why Indiana is able to play the way they do. And again, going back to this theme of like championship value, I have Cade 21 and Siakam 20. And that's not to say I'd rather build a team around Siakam than I would Cade. It's more so if I already have a team in place that's going to contend, Siakam's on a short list of guys that you can plug in, and he's going to give you the exact same amount of value as like your star player would, because he can do all these things to play off of them and amplify their game. And that's a big theme for me on my list. I think that's one of the most important things a player can do when you're trying to win a championship. My number 19 was Kyrie. We already talked about. My number 18 was J-Dub. And I know you had J-Dub on your list. So where'd you have J-Dub?
I had J-Dub on my list. I had him higher. I had J-Dub 14.
Wow. Okay, so my high end for J-Dub is 15. So that's interesting to me. So talk to me about J-Dub. Why'd you have him 14th?
I had J-Dub 14th, and the good thing is there's no regular season action right now to go off of for J-Dub. So we are completely able to just hone in and focus on last season. Honestly, what kind of shifted the tide for me is that finals push, or that finals like series.
That's fair.
Like that finals,
Yeah.
the biggest talking point all season long, including for myself, was look, OKC's a juggernaut. But the one drawback, if you want to be a little bit low on OKC, have a little bit of a question mark at OKC, is like, do they have a legitimate second creator? And mind you, with essentially a broken hand or like a torn ligament in his hand, in Game 5, by the way, has an amazing fourth quarter of Game 4, or just second half of Game 4 in general, that kind of helps put the team on his back, along with Shea, obviously. Finishes Game 4 with 27. Then Game 5 at home goes and drops 40. Or Game 4 at Minnesota has 34 in a clutch win. They didn't win this game. Game 3 in Denver has 32. Like, J-Dub more and more in last year's playoff run had big time games and had big time like score or just offensive production games in the games that OKC legitimately needed to win. Like that, you weren't necessarily getting that from J-Dub in the Dallas series 2 years ago. Because if you did, then OKC's dynasty or potential dynasty probably starts a year early if you're getting this level of production from J-Dub on top of the other stuff. Like super, super quick decision maker off the catch. Super versatile, arguably one of the most, I would say, not named Jason Tatum, the most versatile, like offensive, like true offense. He's not an offensive engine. But, like, the most, I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I'm not going to, like, go on and, like, try to exaggerate him by saying the most XYZ out of any star player. But just trying to hammer home the point, like, for how much they need from him offensively, for him to still be such a versatile chess piece defensively, and granted, surrounding situations allowed him to be super versatile. But for crying out loud, he legit guards 1 through 5. Hell, he was the 5 for 3 weeks when both Chet Ihart and Jalen Williams were out. Or not both, or all three. So I just personally super, super bought into the versatility defensively and just as an offensive player. What you already got from him in a decent sample size, like his floor as an offensive player, then it's like, hold on, wait a minute. And these big time, like, gotta have it games, Shea isn't just out there by himself, because Game 4 through 6 of that Dallas series, Shea was not the problem. I hate that the narrative after 24 was Shea's the playoff dropper. No, they didn't have a real number 2, and then J-Dub stepping up with the torn ligament in his shooting hand. I just, like, maybe hyper-indexed on those measurables, but I came out of the playoffs super high on J-Dub.
No, that's totally fair. And I think my kind of hangback is I tend to be passive with these things, and like I want to see it again first before I confirm it. So like, for example, my rankings on this series, this top 25, will look different a year from now because we'll have more data from the same players. Because it's not always that these players change. It's that we need to see it again or see it sustained over a sample. So with J-Dub in particular, he's one that could really change because I think, well, actually, let me pause for a second and go back to a different player to like hammer that point home. Jokic is a great example of like in 2021, the consensus with Jokic, even though he won MVP, the consensus with Jokic was like, he's like the 4th or 5th best player. Everyone had like Giannis, Steph, KD in like that tier. And now I think going back to 2021, I don't know a single person who would have KD over Jokic in 2021. But back then, that was the consensus. So things do change. And it was because we needed to see more from Jokic. Like that was the breakout year. And then there were still all these questions like, well, can he even be a good defender in the playoffs? Like, can you build a championship team with that as your center? How much of this efficiency is real on sustained volume? Then he comes back in 2022, has an even better season than 2021, is better on both ends of the floor. They flame out in the first round. And he actually torches Golden State in the first round, by the way. Like, ridiculous scoring series. I think over the last 3 games, he was like 35 a game on 70% true shooting. Then after 2022, people still weren't ready to like label Jokic as a top 2 or 3 player. There were still people saying like other guys were better than him.
Can I pause you right quick?
Yeah.
I want to pause you because, like, okay, you're bringing up the consensus argument, which, okay, like, I do think this is a fair argument to make. But, like, I'm going to counter that. I think really people just didn't do it because they didn't know if, like, Jokic could win. Because the moment Jokic won it, we were all like, oh, okay, it wasn't a Jokic ability thing, which I think is what J-Dub would potentially be. This was a Jokic has to win and then we'll crown you.
But that's what I'm getting at with Jokic, because it's like in 2023, going into the playoffs, all of the narratives still applied from the last couple of years. They were like, first it was the Nuggets are a gimmick team because they lost like 3 games in a row before the playoffs started to like bum teams when they were clearly coasting. Then it was the Phoenix series happens. The Phoenix series is about to start, and they're all like, well, Booker and KD are just going to fry Jokic in pick and roll. They're just going to put him in every action and fry him. Then the Nuggets win that series in 6. Then it's the same thing with the Lakers. Like, LeBron and AD are just going to put him in pick and roll. And I know you didn't see this side of Twitter because you're in your Lakers bubble, Sean. But I had a tweet that said the Nuggets were going to beat the Lakers, and it had over 1,000 bookmarks, dude. It had over 1,000 bookmarks because they were like, oh, they're just going to put Jokic in pick and roll. And then the Nuggets sweep the Lakers. And then right when the finals started, that's when everyone was finally ready to crown Jokic because he just like had 2 of the greatest series ever against the Suns and the Lakers offensively. I think he averaged 28, 15, and 12 against the Lakers. And then against the Suns, it was like this 35-point triple-double on 70% true shooting or something stupid. Then everyone was ready to crown Jokic because they knew everyone knew the Nuggets were going to beat the Heat in the finals. And everyone crowned Jokic after that Lakers series, right? But what I'm saying is, Jokic was already that caliber of player a year ago. So now we can go back to 2022 and be like, okay, Jokic was already the best player. It was just people weren't ready to crown him yet. That's what I'm getting at with J-Dub. It's not the same thing. My thing with J-Dub is I think he maybe ascended during the playoff run. And I need to see it sustained to start this season when he comes back to be like, okay, this is the new J-Dub. Because there was a trend throughout last playoffs from the first round to the finals where every series his rim volume attempts and his free throw attempts kept jumping. And it was like by the end of the playoffs, he was getting to the rim and the free throw line at will. And my question is that Minnesota and Indiana's defense making it easier for him to apply downhill pressure? Or is it J-Dub literally ascending and taking a leap throughout the run? Because if J-Dub was a different player at the end of the playoffs, as opposed to what he was before the playoffs, I could see the argument for having him wow, I just died. Having him at 14th. I can see the argument for having him at 14th if that's what actually happened. Because in the Pacers series, I think it's like 7 rim attempts per 75 and 8 free throws or something like that. Like if that's J-Dub as this like second creator who's going to apply relentless downhill pressure and not settle for the mid-range, I'm all in. I'm all in on J-Dub. To me, I think there's still a few question marks, and I don't know how much of that is the wrist or how much of it is like in the Nuggets series. He basically doesn't exist for like 6 out of 7 games offensively, and that's one of the big reasons that series goes to 7. He averages like 16 points on 30-something% shooting over the 7 games, and that's one of my questions. Also, the three-point shooting throughout the run was not consistent, and I think that's a big part of his value as an off-the-catch guy is the fact that he can play in the slot and knock down 37-38% of his threes, which dropped down to 30% in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm kind of just in a space. You're muted, by the way, buddy. So your slick remark.
Wrist injury bait. My bad.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering how much, if he comes into this season, the three-point shot is back, the driving is there like we saw in the playoffs. I'm fully all in, and then I'll come back and be like, okay, J-Dub was higher than where I had him at 18. I'm just kind of waiting. I'm wait and see. I mean, 18 I feel like is still relatively high on J-Dub. I don't know. Before the playoffs, I would have had him probably closer to 25. So I do think I got higher on J-Dub throughout the run. Everything you said with the two-way versatility is just special. It's just special with J-Dub as a number 2 guy. My number 17 was Jimmy Butler. And I'm probably higher on Jimmy Butler than anyone on the planet. I'm like okay with admitting that. Where'd you have Jimmy?
18.
Okay, I can respect that then. You're the only guy who's with me on this Jimmy train. I don't think people realize how good Jimmy Butler is, and it's like kind of hard to explain because like 99% of his value doesn't show up on the box score, I feel like. He's like this really unique player where yes, he's a scorer and a defender, but like it's the margins where he dominates. I think at face value, it's like, yeah, he's a guy who can give you an efficient 25. He can score in isolation. He can attack mismatches. He can defend multiple positions and is a genius off-ball defender. But there are two specific impacts on the team that Jimmy Butler has that I think get just drastically overlooked. And for that reason, like I could even see him being higher. Like I could see him up at like 14 or 15 just for this reason alone. And I also think it was the driving force behind what made him like arguably a top 10 player during those Miami playoff runs. The first one is his impact on the team's free throw shooting, like free throw attempts. In the 52 games the Warriors played without Jimmy, they were 26th in free throw attempts at 20 a game. In the 30 games with Jimmy, they averaged over 25 free throw attempts, which was first by a landslide. So the difference between with or without Jimmy was 5 free throw attempts. Think about that over the course of an entire game. Jimmy's like an 87% free throw shooter or whatever it is. So you're getting just basically 5 extra points off of free throw shooting per game. But I don't even think that's his biggest impact. I think the biggest impact is the possession game. Because one thing we talk about a lot on this show is just like a team being able to dominate the possession game, whether that's through offensive rebounding or taking care of the ball or forcing the other team to turn the ball over. It's a trend that throughout last year's playoffs, the two teams that consistently won the possession game in their series was Indiana and OKC. They end up in the finals. I think there were only two or three series in the entire playoffs where the team that lost the possession game won the series. And it was like Denver versus the Clippers was one of them, and I can't remember the other. All that's to say, there are 3 ways to dominate the possession game. Offensive rebounding, steals, lack of turnovers. Jimmy Butler is one of the like 5 best in the game at forcing turnovers. He never turns the ball over, and he's arguably the best offensive rebounding non-big in the league. So you get this really crazy signal where every team Jimmy plays on just dominates the possession game when he's on the court. And it's something no one talks about. Like, in the 30 games he played for the Warriors last year in the regular season, he averaged 2.3 offensive rebounds, 1.7 steals, and 1.5 turnovers. Then in 11 playoff games, 2.4 offensive rebounds, 1.3 steals, and 1.2 turnovers. During his 4 Miami playoff runs, so 64 playoff games, 2.2 offensive rebounds, 1.9 steals, 2.1 turnovers. I mean, the guy just absolutely dominates the margins of the game while being a 20-point per game efficient scorer who can play with or without the ball. So maybe some of these other guys we're going to talk about can't carry a huge offensive load like some of them, but if he's your number 2 on offense, he's going to fit with the number 1 perfectly. He'll do all of the little things. He'll make your team dominate the free throws, dominate the possession game, and then add an efficient 20 ball. So when you're trying to win a championship, that's everything you want. Literally, that's everything you want on both sides of the ball. I think Jimmy's so good, man. Jimmy's so good. And like, imagine what I'm saying with like the Miami, like imagine that what I just talked about with dominating possession game, but then he can also average 37 in a playoff series. Like, peak Jimmy was a freak, dude. He was so good for Miami. He was so good. I actually want to, like, pull up something that I did for my 30-team series. I made a graphic, and it was for the
Good
Warriors.
series,
like,
by the way. Shameless plug for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man. It was specifically about this idea of Jimmy dominating possessions. Hopefully I'm able to pull it up because, you know, I'm having some technical difficulties here. Talk to me about Jimmy. You give me your take on Jimmy. I probably already hit all the major points, but talk to me about Jimmy. What do you think about Jimmy?
Sure. Talk about Jimmy while, you know, you have a, you know, great time, you know, breaking him down in depth. No, I think the part that kind of hammered it home for you is like that you. Oh my God, now I can't talk. The tiredness is getting to me. No, Jimmy has number one impact because of all the other stuff he does without like having number one production, and I think that's just the number one biggest thing. And his communication, like ridiculous. Go ahead.
I was gonna say I feel like we don't give enough credit to superstars who dominate like role player stuff. Like, we talk about the value of Steven Adams. Like, Steven Adams having like this all-star type of impact because you check him into the game and your team's going to get a second chance opportunity on half of their possessions. But like, you get a similar signal with Jimmy on the possessions while also being like, oh, I can go give you 25 a game in a playoff series efficiently against a good defense. And like, I feel like we don't acknowledge that type of stuff. And I think that's another reason why Jokic sometimes gets underrated. Like, Jokic does so many little things with his screening, with his movement. That, like,
no way you turned this into Jokic propaganda. There is no shot you turned this into Jokic propaganda.
Okay, I got it pulled up.
Jokic,
Look at this graph I made.
Look
at this graph I made for the 30-team series. This is Jimmy's team's differential in true shooting attempts per 100. Sorry, true shooting attempts per 100 with Butler on the court versus off the court. So you go back to the Heat years, they're getting like 5 extra shots with Jimmy on the court every year. In 2020, look at 2021, man. In 2021, they're getting 7 extra shots. They're getting 7 more shots with Jimmy on the court versus on the bench. It's absolutely absurd. And in Golden State, they were already like a lead at the possession game, so Jimmy just enhanced that even more. I actually think with Jimmy, in the games after Jimmy, they were like tied with the Rockets in terms of winning the true shooting attempt battle. By the way, what this means is like that 5.1 is... that means they're getting 5 more true shooting attempts than their opponent with Jimmy on the court. So that's just like 5 more chances to score. So the best way to describe this is if you have Jimmy on the court, your team's going to get 5 more chances to score. That is so
And like
valuable.
you said, they were already elite. That's why the number is 3.4 with them off.
Right. So that's insane. That's insane. Like, that is one of the most valuable things a player can do. So Jimmy's a guy that I really wanted to talk about because I just think he does so many things on the court that are so valuable. After that, I kind of think we can kind of run through the rest of the guys. I don't think there's much to talk about conceptually. I guess there's a few guys we can touch on briefly, but I'm just going to kind of name names. Finishing out this tier for me would be 16 Devin Booker and 15 Evan Mobley. Where'd you have those guys?
I had Evan Mobley 17, Devin Booker 15. But like,
okay. And is there anything you want to talk about with those guys? I feel like pretty self-explanatory.
Nah. Wait. No, Devin Booker 16, Donovan Mitchell. Wait, God. Devin Booker 16, Evan Mobley 17. My bad.
Donovan Mitchell's your 15. Donovan Mitchell's my 14, so we're not too different there. Yeah, just to touch on the Mobley thing, everything we talked about with like the ability to enhance a number one offensive player by doing everything else, Mobley's two-way play is just so absurdly valuable. Who was your number 13?
Okay. This is in a range now where like I just have no clue what to do with these guys.
I do want to say, like, I do think we're getting into like, okay, so let me back up, let me backpedal. I want to do ranges on some of these guys. J-Dub, I had a range of 15 to 25. Jimmy, I had a range of 15 to 24. D-Book, I had a range of 13 to 23. And Mobley, I had a range of 12 to 19. Now we're getting into like really tight ranges of like these players are within a group of like 5 or 6. And you can kind of split hairs to get who you want above the other. Mitchell, to me, I'd Mitchell 14th. He has a range of me of 10 to 16. So if someone had Mitchell at that very last spot in their top 10, I wouldn't argue it. I think it's fair. 13 is someone I have a range of 8 to 14. Actually, my 13, 12, and 11 all have a range of 8 to 14. So I kind of want to just name all three of them. They are Brunson, Halliburton, and KD. What do you have to say? Why are you looking at me like that?
Okay, I do want to come back.
You want to come back?
Okay, so, well, I'm just gonna like circle back a little bit to, those two guys. I mean, to a couple of those guys, but we'll get to that.
Okay.
My 13, 12, 11?
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have Halliburton and KD in here. This is the guy I just didn't know what to do with. I had LeBron. Anthony Davis.
Oh, I thought it was into LeBron. LeBron's usually the guy we have no idea what to do with. Okay, you had AD in this group. We'll get back to AD because I do want to talk about AD a little bit. He actually is a weird one, a very weird one. Okay, so I had 13 Brunson, 12 Halliburton, 11 KD, all with the exact same range. My next guy, number 10, I had a range of 7 to 14, so I can see the high end being a touch higher. That's LeBron. LeBron's my number 10. I don't even know what needs to be said about LeBron. We've talked so much about LeBron in this series. I feel like he's popped onto every single list somehow as like a 10th or 11th guy, and now it just averages out to number 10. Yeah, LeBron, I've got nothing to add on LeBron. I just think he's a really confusing player at this stage in his career because I don't know what to make of like the offensive load versus the defensive. Like for the first half of last season, he looked like a negative defensive player. And then they change up the system, and LeBron's like, "Oh, I'm gonna lock in." No,
they get just slaughtered by Miami. JJ like calls them out, and then Bron. This is like December, the late December on, Bron's locked in defensively.
And then like in like February and March, he looked like an all defensive player. It was insane. So I don't know what to do with LeBron. I kind of just like average that out. I'm like, he's a good defender. He's a pretty good defender. And then obviously still one of the better more versatile offensive players in the league. My number 9 I also had with a range of 7 to 14. And I already know you're going to be higher on this guy, I think. Anthony Edwards was my number 9. Okay, I want to stop there for now. Who were your 10 and 9?
My 10 and 9 were... This is not going to age well based off how the season is.
My
10 was Wemby, 9 was Braun. Only because this is last year. This is where like us doing this list, this like late like sucks.
It's awful.
It's awful because Wemby I'm ready to just put him top 5.
Right. Well, I mean, if we're talking about 11, 10, and 9, based on what's going on this year, like we got to start talking about Austin Reeves, right?
Reeves is 7. Like,
dude,
we'll give the rest of those guys room.
So I do think like maybe this is hindsight, right? Because of what's going on. I feel like you might have underrated last year's version of Wemby, man. Like,
okay, so you had your moment of show me more with Jada. This is my moment of show me more with Wemby.
So you know what's funny? I had the exact same thing with Wemby. I had the exact same like show me more. I had him 7th. And my range for Wemby was 3 to 9. I was like, if Wemby is like what I think he can be already, I can see him up to 3, like in that inner circle tier we talk about with a Jokic, Shea, and Giannis. Like I could already see him being that last year. I just didn't know for sure. And then I was like, I also have like this hang back where I'm like, I don't know what to do with Wemby's offense. There are still systems where it's like we're gonna switch everything. We've talked about this extensively actually. Where it's like, we're going to put a wing on Wemby, we're going to switch everything, get under his center of gravity, push him out, and we're going to make him take 10 threes.
It just doesn't matter now.
No, this version of Wemby,
it just doesn't
if you put a wing on him, he's going to score 40 points in the paint. It is the dumbest thing ever.
And then what's crazy, he's like kind of using the 3, and this like, I'm sure we're going to talk about Wemby anyway, but like he's just basically turned the 3 into like a counter instead of the primary thing, which is scary.
It's insane, dude. The way he's using his body, the way he's looking for every pocket in the paint, it's unlike anything I've ever seen. This guy is like, the thing with Wemby that I really
can I throw a number at you right quick.
Go ahead.
Not to cut you off. My apologies, but 4-game sample size. So again, please take this with a gigantic
It's
grain of
legit.
salt.
No, I promise you it is legit. It is legit. I promise you. I don't care. Wemby's the one guy now, like based on these 4 games, I don't care about sample size. I don't care about, I need to see it. This is legit. You can't make this up. You can't make this up.
Per 100 possessions, his rookie year took basically 9 threes per 100. Last year took almost 13 threes per 100. Last year he took 14 2-point attempts per 100. So like, basically almost 50-50. It's about 50-50 as you can get.
Yeah.
This year he's taking about 4 threes per 100. So literally like cut that by like 2/3 and almost doubled his 2-point volume. He's shooting 24 twos per 100 possessions to start off the year.
That's all right. It's pretty cool.
And like it's not like they're long twos. No, he's shooting 11 shots at the rim, almost 12 shots at the rim per 75. 43% of his shots are at the rim.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane. We've never seen anything like this. And then he's also like using the mid-range as a counter, and it's like surgical use of the mid-range. It's not, I can't get anywhere, let me turn it into this awkward shot. It's like you clearly see the Hakeem Olajuwon stuff applying, where he gets the ball in the mid-post, immediately off the catch is decisive with his length, and just gets to a spot and rises up, and you can't contest it. We talk about KD having an incontestable jumper. My goodness, this guy Wemby gets up to like 12 feet. It's like he's shooting down. It's like he has negative arc at the rim.
So yeah.
To your point,
Wemby, I'm sorry. I made this list coming out of last year. If we were doing it for the first 4 games, Wemby, tip of the hat to you. You've earned it. You would be a lot higher.
A lot higher. Like, number 1. Like, if Wemby sustains this, I don't expect Wemby to sustain, like, this caliber of scoring. Like, if he's this caliber of scorer, he's already the best player in the league. And I feel like that's, like, I feel comfortable saying that. Because what we haven't talked about is Wemby's floor. If you just take away all of the scoring, he's still this one-man defense.
Best defender in the league.
He's flat out the best defender in the league right now. He takes away the paint from entire teams. One of the numbers I pulled from my Wemby video recently was when Wemby's on the court, opposing offenses take 10% of their shots from long mid-range, which would be the most of any team. When he's off the court, they take just 7.4% of their shots from long mid-range, which I believe is like 27th or 28th. So basically it's like when Wemby's on the court, and this was his entire career, so this is like a big sample size of data. Over Wemby's entire career, when he's on the court, your team is living in the long mid-range. You just have to, because the paint is taken away. Did you see that recent Raptors game where they were just throwing up weird 10-footers the whole game instead of trying to go to the rim? It was like, we watched Rudy Gobert in his prime, and that was very much like a rim deterrent of...
We did?
We did. You especially saw it in Game 5, buddy.
Oh, my God.
So, Gobert had this effect on opposing offenses where it was like, we aren't going to get much in the paint, so we're going to have to live in the short mid-range or the long mid-range. And it was more so like players reacting to that in real time, realizing they couldn't score on Wemby. This Raptors game looked like it was a legitimate like bullet point on the scouting report. Do not attempt to score in the paint because Wemby's going to be there. And then he finishes the game with like 1 block, and everyone's like, it was kind of a weaker defensive game from Wemby. You go back and watch the tape, and you have like Jakob Poeltl throwing shot puts at the hoop from 12 feet away. You have Quickly stopping his drives 18 feet away from the paint. And it's because Wemby just exists. And so that's the floor on defense. The floor on offense is, I'm always going to stretch the opposing rim protector. You can't play traditional drop coverage because if you let me roll behind you, it's an automatic 2 points or a foul. So I'm going to, like, he's just this monster interior threat who also spaces the floor on offense and defense. And then the ceiling is, I can also give you 35 efficiently. I'm going to score in the paint from mid-range and from 3. If you start doubling me hard off the catch, I can give you 8 assists. And then also the other thing we haven't talked about is last year and in his rookie year, Wemby was a turnover machine. And this year, he's just not turning the ball over. So I don't know. I don't know what to do with Wemby right now. But I had him 7th on my list from last year. And also just one more stat to throw at you to really hammer this point home. per 100 possessions in 2021, Giannis attempted 12 shots at the rim and made 80% of them. Wemby right now is attempting 12 shots at the rim and making 80% of them. So the current 4 games we're talking about with Wemby is like peak Giannis interior production with everything else. So I just really want to hammer that point home of what we're witnessing right now with Wemby, because this is not normal at all. We've never seen anything like this. And I'm glad, like, I will never be on the wrong side of history with Wemby. I refuse to, I'm like fully with the sauce, dude. Like, I will never say anything bad about this guy. I don't care if it's Glaze. I don't care, dude. Wemby, I'm going down on the right side of history.
Just admitted to glazing live on the podcast.
I don't care. That's where I'm at with Wemby. My number 8 was AD. Another guy I kind of didn't know what to do with. Like you said, like, I don't know what to do about the injury stuff. I don't know what to do about the defense kind of slipping with a new offensive role, and then he gets traded midseason and barely plays for Dallas. I still think he's just this awesome two-way behemoth who's going to drive championship value in the playoffs. Pretty clearly a weaker regular season player than everyone we've talked about in this group, though, of like the top 13 or so players in the league. AD, just to me, is more of a playoff type of player. Does that cover our... Did you get to number 7? Who was your... You had 10 Wemby, 9 LeBron. Who was your 8 and 7?
My 8 is Jalen Brunson. My 7 is Anthony Edwards.
Gotcha. Okay, so we have the same top 6. I'm glad. Because I do think that's kind of like... with the big question mark that is Wemby, I didn't really know what to do with him. I do think besides that, there is a tier jump to number 6. Am I off base there, or do you agree?
I would kind of agree. I think... actually, no. I'm going to like slightly backtrack. I think there is a slight argument for both Brunson and Ant. But like, I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. Okay, so my number 6 I have with a group of 4 through 8. So I guess like if you went lower end on this guy and got him down to like that 8 spot, then I could slide the other guys ahead of him. To me, and I feel like we have the same number 6, and I'll spoil it right here. There's this thing that happens in everyone's heads where there's like 2 generations at once. It's like the new guard of Jokic, Shea, Giannis, Luka, Tatum, those guys. And then there's the old guard of LeBron, AD, Kawhi, KD. And Steph Curry, by default, gets placed with the old guard because he's of that same generation. But I think there's like a very clear distinction. Like, I think Steph Curry is in this group with the young guard still, of like how good he is. Am I off base there? Like, Steph is still ridiculously good. And we saw that as soon as the Warriors got Jimmy. As soon as the Warriors got Jimmy, Steph was like, oh yeah.
Oh, you mean when he actually cared about basketball again?
Yeah. He was he was all right. He was a pretty good player.
Dude, the month of like December and January, Steph was in hell. He's like, all right, bro. Like,
yeah, it was, what can you do?
I could care less.
Steph just has such an impact on his team's offense. Like, dude, him just moving around, it creates so many layups. The gravity thing is it will never be overblown. Like, you can say the word gravity 100 times.
No, because it's the most legit thing ever.
It's ridiculous. Like, you just watch him on any possession, and defenses panic. He just puts every defense in a panic. And it's one of the most valuable things in the sport. And then it's like when the shot making's also going, like it was in that Houston series for a few games. Yeah, Steph's still an offensive juggernaut. He was your number 6, right? He's my number 6.
Yeah, Steph was my 6.
Okay, 4 and 5, I think very much splitting hairs. I think flip-flop, either or. My number 5 was Tatum. My number 4 was Luka. I kind of maybe want to go back on that and move Tatum to 4. I don't know. I'm going to give Luka the benefit of the doubt here just because the first 2 games of this season were like peak Luka. And maybe that's a bad way of going about this, but hindsight is 2020, and I'm going Luka at 4. I'm giving Luka the nod at 4. And honestly, the version of Luka that we've been seeing so far looks like he could be higher than 4. But it's been 2 games, so we'll wait and see when he gets back. Was that your 5 and 4?
Aw, you give the bail to Wemby, but not Luka.
I give anything to Wemby, man.
I see the favoritism.
Like, this guy deserves it.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Stop.
Stop.
That was insane.
That was crazy. Oh man, pause.
No, I do have gosh. I have Tatum 5 and Luka 4, yes.
Get your head out of the gutter, man. Okay.
I'm just looking at Austin Reeves' stats. I mean, I'm saying wow at Austin Reeves averaging 34, 8, and 10 on the year. Calm down. Everything's about you.
There we go. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, just make it about my ego. Let's go there. Okay. Then we got the big three. This is like the inner circle of guys. To me, I don't even want to. We've had this discussion so many times. I don't even want to talk about these guys. I just want to make my rankings and call it a series. I got 3 Giannis, 2 Shea, 1 Jokic.
Yeah.
You got it that too?
I do want to say that the Jokic Shea thing is kind of annoying. And what I mean by annoying is I don't know, the discourse around Shea and like the people that want to like discredit Shea and act like it's not a conversation are the same ones that like crowned Jokic when Jokic won. But I'm like, okay, we're doing this thing where we're crowning guys because they won it finally. Okay, Shea automatically, resume wise, and just the fact that he just won it is automatically the conversation. And then kind of like vice versa, like now because he won it, that's just the problem with the discourse. Because Shea won it doesn't mean he should automatically be won, especially when Jokic is on the other side of the fence. So like I think both sides of the spectrum are equally annoying, but it is 1 and 2, and there's less of an argument for Shea.
You know what's really interesting? Like, is this the first player? Because I do think Jokic is still the consensus best player. Like, you will have people arguing Shea, but like general consensus, like on all of the publications and stuff, is still Jokic at 1. Is this the first time in NBA history where a player won MVP and Finals MVP, and someone else was still the consensus best player? Like Shea hit all the barometers from a resume standpoint. Like he was the scoring champ, won MVP, won Finals MVP, led his team to 68 wins and a championship, and it was like everyone kind of still agreed that someone else was better. Has that ever happened in NBA history?
Well, if you said the Finals MVP part, I would have said Steph in 16, but
wow,
dang,
wow, unbelievable,
Bron, just blocked by James. Oh, all right,
unbelievable. After my great Steph spiel, dude, you go and do that? You go and lose all the Warriors fans, man? They're all unsubscribing now? Crazy. Crazy work out of you.
All right, let me chill.
Okay. I want to recap my 25. My top 25. I'll just read them all in a row. We don't have the high quality graphics like we usually do, so close your eyes and just imagine a list getting ordered as I read this. 25 Trae Young, 24 Darius Garland, 23 Jaylen Brown, 22 Damian Lillard, 21 Cade Cunningham, 20 Pascal Siakam, 19 Kyrie Irving, 18 Jalen Williams, 17 Jimmy Butler, 16 Devin Booker, 15 Evan Mobley, 14 Donovan Mitchell, 13 Jalen Brunson, 12 Tyrese Halliburton, 11 Kevin Durant, 10 LeBron, 9 Anthony Edwards, 8 Anthony Davis, 7 Victor Wembanyama, 6 Steph Curry, 5 Jason Tatum, 4 Luka Doncic, 3 Giannis, 2 Shea, 1 Jokic. You can do the same if you want, or you could just skip that part. It's up to you, Sean, if you want to read your full 25.
No, I'll go ahead and take the bullet and read the full 25. 25 Bam Adebayo, 24 James Harden, 23 Kyrie Irving, 22 Damian Lillard, 21 Trae Young, 20 Jaylen Brown, 19 Cade Cunningham, 18 Jimmy Butler, 17 Evan Mobley, 16 Devin Booker, 15 Donovan Mitchell, 14 Jalen Williams, 13 Tyrese Halliburton, 12 Anthony Davis, 11 Kevin Durant, 10 Victor Wembanyama, 9 LeBron James, 8 Jalen Brunson, 7 Anthony Edwards, 6 Stephen Curry, 5 Jason Tatum, 4 Luka Doncic, 3 Giannis Antetokounmpo, 2 Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and 1 Nikola Jokic.
Round of applause for the ranking series. And now for part 2 of the podcast, our top 25 players of 2026. No, in all seriousness.
And I will be logging off and going to bed.
No, I do, real quick before we get out of here, I do kind of want to just do a quick spark notes of just some of the standout things to start this season.
Yeah.
Not that we have to go heavy. It's still such a small sample, and we don't have to go heavy on any of these topics, but just general things around the league that have been popping off. I think we already kind of touched on a little bit of them with Luka in his first 2 games before the injury. looked insane. We've talked about like what if there was an intersect between the current level of shot making, mastery of the game, passing with his young slashing and athleticism. And I think Luka through those first 2 games was the best offensive and defensive version of Luka I've ever seen. Would you agree with that?
Yeah.
And then the other thing we already talked about was Wemby. We don't really need to keep like that's been the biggest story of this season. What else is on your mind in terms of things that have happened to start the season that you've got, at least got your eye on?
I want to watch more of this team, so I'm actually honestly not going to have like a full-fledged opinion on this team quite yet. But Miami being a juggernaut, we've kind of talked about that a little bit already. Miami being a juggernaut and missing significant time from their 2 lead creators is something noteworthy, I think. I don't think this team got enough credit in the offseason, simply just how daggone well coached they are. The Bulls are not going to keep this up. I would be borderline shocked if they did.
Respect the Bulls, man.
All right, my bad.
Respect Chicago.
But they're so well coached. And actually, the thing is, we know they can play better offensively. They've right now, I think, are 21st in offensive rating through 4 games, or for them, 3 games. What's actually been the storyline for them is they have like a top 3-4 game defense. Actually, they're tied right now with it's them, OKC, and San Antonio. I think that's 1, 2, and 3. I think it's OKC, them, San Antonio when I just looked. But the thing with them, though, man, they just have so many good decision makers, bro. So many guys that can, put the ball down and make connected passes and make high IQ plays. Miles Buzelis is a stud.
Trey Jones
super good off ball. Trey Jones is just like super rock solid. That's the best compliment I can give Trey Jones. Anybody more specifically that like is caught my Giannis ball works. Like they're gonna be an awful playoff watch. I'm like fairly convinced. But regular season, Giannis ball works.
Cole Anthony is looking like a very upgraded playmaker from what he was in Orlando.
Ryan Rollins, shout out to you at like 26 points tonight.
Yeah, Ryan. Shout out Ryan Rollins, man. That's one of my guys. Let's go. Shout out Ryan Rollins. Utah.
I mean, speaking of super, there we go. Utah. Speaking of super well coached, they have a loss they have a 1-possession loss, an overtime win against Phoenix, and then a smacking of the Clippers on opening night. Lauri Markkanen casually averaging 26 points to start off this season. Yeah, 26 on 56, 40, 83 efficiency so far. Never really going to turn the ball over. I was really low on Keontae George entering this year. And with no Isaiah Collier to start the season, Keontae George has just been awesome.
He looks
Walker
really
Kessler, good. Like, they have a really good, like, fun and good nucleus. Like, Lauri Markkanen, again, not going to play at the same level. But Lauri Markkanen, Keontae George, Walker Kessler, Bryce Entenbog is a bucket. Walter Clayton, you get Taylor Hendricks back this year, which is big for your defense. Then you still have Ace, who hasn't even played a lot. Like, they have a really fun
Flip.
7-guy nucleus.
My boy Flip.
Yeah, Filipowski, yeah.
Also, the Jazz are playing ridiculously fast.
They have a really fun nucleus.
They're playing ridiculously fast. So it's like almost like a new kind of, because they've always had the creative half-court offense under Will Hardy. But now it's like, we've got all these young athletes, let's run. And it's such a unique, they're the biggest starting lineup in the league besides Houston. Like, their starting lineup's huge. They're running Lowry, Flip, and Kessler in the starting lineup, and then they're still playing ridiculously fast. It's such a unique clash in styles that we've never really seen. And so far, they've been really good. My take on Utah going into the season was they're going to be good enough to be, like, competing for a play-in spot, but they're not going to try to win. Like, they always do this thing where, like, they get to a certain point in the season, and then they kind of just stop trying to win because they want a high draft pick. And I don't know, they look good enough to not have to do that this year, but I don't really know what to expect. Another team that kind of falls under the scope of just this super fun ball movement heavy fast offense with a bunch of young guys is Charlotte. They're playing fast. They are moving the ball really well. LaMelo looks awesome. And it's a big thing like we talked about last year, like how much of LaMelo's play style was a result of okay, you have no spacing. Sometimes your team is starting Taj Gibson still, and you need to take 30 shots. LaMelo this year is like, I'm going to get off the ball. I'm going to make every extra pass. He's kind of playing like Halliburton with the way he's speeding up the game and looking for every kick ahead and things like that. So LaMelo, and also defensively, LaMelo's been bought in. Like, aggressive help at the nail, fighting for position. Like, shout out LaMelo, man. I never really did like the narrative of he's too nonchalant or like LaMelo needs to play serious. Like, he plays serious. He just because people don't like the way it looks, they automatically go to like it's an unserious, unwinning type of basketball. LaMelo's a winning player. He's a great player. And I'm glad people are seeing that now with like this revamped offensive system. Also, Concanippo looks awesome. So that's another big plus for Charlotte.
I'm still very wait and see on Charlotte, and I'll watch some more of them. I think the biggest thing that Charlotte has going for them, though, is like you said, just a healthier offensive infrastructure for LaMelo to kind of just operate with this year.
The team defense is going to be awful, and that for that reason,
yeah, their team defense sucks.
Like their defense is really bad, but they're must watch in my opinion. Like they're a really fun team to watch.
Brandon Miller just can never stay healthy, which is super unfortunate. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else that I'm missing.
Edgecombe, dude.
Lakers.
VJ Edgecombe.
I was going to get to Philly. Get to Philly.
We'll wait on Philly then.
Lakers have, like, a problem on their hands because Austin Reeves might be, like, too good. I got some backlash on Twitter about my AR take. But, like, basically what I said is, like, he is a all-star caliber guard. The way I always described it was he's CJ McCollum. Will he ever get the nod? No. But peak CJ McCollum is a all-star caliber guard in Portland with next to Dame, next to the guy. Absolutely deserving of a potential nod. Would never get it, though, because of the stacked West and maybe didn't do enough. Mm-hmm. And I think in the small, super, super, super small sample sizes of one option AR, or priority like 1B option AR, he like very consistently produces. And that kind of becomes a problem in the summer when AR for the next month is going to be priority 1B, till Braun comes back with a freaking nerve issue in his butt. Like until Braun does come back, he's going to be that guy next to Luka. So that means you got basically a 2-month head start to your summer pitch from AR and his representative, like, look, I can fit next to Austin. I can fit next to Luka. Pay me 40. Because 51-11-9 against the Kings with nobody, and then 41-5 against a really, like, dangerous Blazers team for multiple reasons. 41-5 against a really good defensive Blazers team. Like, he's scary. He's really, really good, which might be actually kind of be a problem for the Lakers in terms of building out their roster if Braun decides to come back because of money wise. But AR is really good.
So you're starting the trade AR agenda, is what I'm hearing.
I'm not starting the trade AR agenda. I'm saying roster construction wise, AR wants his money, deserves his money, but like, how do you build out a competent roster next year with paying AR 40, Braun 45, Luka 50? I just don't see that happening.
Yeah. Reeves is really interesting to me because I'm with you. I think he's so good and I think he's so deserving of that paycheck. But, like, is he the long-term championship backcourt partner for Luka? I don't know. Like I feel like ideally it would be a Derek White type, next to Luka. And obviously, well, I say a Derek White type. There's no such thing as a Derek White type. It's just Derek White. So maybe the Lakers just need to trade for Derek White. But no, in all seriousness, that's what's tough because I do agree with you. But I also think they have to make the choice of, like, is Reeves worth that money on our team? Like, Reeves is obviously worth the money, but is he worth that money as an off guard next to another, like, non-defender in Luka? You know what I mean? That's kind of what makes it tough, in my opinion. Even though, like, I think Reeves is awesome, and obviously, like, his recent stretch has been crazy good. I am surprised I haven't seen much complaining about the foul baiting. I'm always like, do what's best for your team.
It's not Shea. It's not Shea, Brunson.
Reeves
Embiid.
might be the worst.
Reeves can get. AR can get nasty, which again, by all means, I mean,
Yeah, but
go ahead.
Like I said, I support it because I think do what you need to do to get your team up 2 points on the board. But the masses, I'm surprised, are not hating on Austin Reeves because it's been pretty. A few of these possessions look pretty nasty.
It will come, my child.
New York revamped offense, getting Brunson off ball. They're still kind of adjusting to that. I like the variety. I think it'll help them come playoff time. Toronto, really interesting. They're like kind of not good on either side of the ball, but they have this really interesting, super fast-paced approach, and Scotty Barnes looks really good with it. I don't really know what to do with Toronto. I'm kind of just like wait and see, so let's not go too far into the Toronto discussion. Brooklyn has an 132 defensive rating. Brooklyn.
You love to see it.
Brooklyn can't get a stop on anyone. Phoenix also can't defend, and New Orleans also can't defend, which are two teams I got flack for saying can't defend. Before the season, I said Phoenix can't defend and New Orleans can't defend. And, like, I got flack in the YouTube comments. They were like, no, our team can defend. I also had a comment that said that
the one-man Herb Jones defense and Dylan Brooks and Ryan Dunn, neither one can shoot.
I had a comment that said Phoenix is winning 55 games this year. So
should have bet that guy $1,000.
That's what happens on YouTube. Philly. Let's talk about Philly, man. Tyrese Maxey looks amazing.
So good.
VJ Edgecombe looks amazing. VJ's so good. VJ's
so good. The most impressive part about VJ, especially more so from the first game, but like just in general, bro, he is like already like he's so good at like just making like the next play. Like in terms of, okay, Maxey creates and I'm the next option, I'm the next read or whatever, and it's me stampeding this drive, which then leads to making the next play or whatever. Or it's me as easy as hitting the catch and shoot three or whatever the case may be, or just attacking downhill and being an elite vertical athlete. Bro, this is why I really wanted to buy in on Philly in the summer. Their defense is hot garbage right now. Like every game Philly is the Tampa Bay Bucks. That might be the perfect analogy I've ever had on the podcast. Philly is the Tampa Bay Bucks. Every game they're in is exciting. They're going to score a lot of points. It's going to be a close game down to the wire, whether it's the Wizards or whether it's the Thunder. They literally just went to overtime with the Wizards. I think they went to overtime with the Hornets too. And super, super high scoring. Like 3 of their 4 wins have been 1 possession wins. I'm sorry, like 1 to 2 possession wins. 5-point win in overtime, 4-point win against the Hornets, and a 1-point win on the road on opening night. But they have the firepower offensively between Maxey, BJ, Quinn Grimes, and like 2.5 quarters of Embiid essentially. And that's kind of like the one thing that like I'm still like. That's why I'm keeping some of my optimism on the Sixers is like long term for the playoffs, hopefully and beyond. Because that first game, Embiid looked like he couldn't move. But over the past couple of games, 20-4, 27-5 tonight against Washington at the time of this recording. Like, dog, if they can just get healthy, and that's such an if for Philly, but they can just legit outgun teams. I still have no clue what their defense is, but they just have so much offensive juice.
And McCain's still going to come back.
Jared McCain coming back. Paul George coming back, and we don't even know. Paul George can be literally what he was last year, and that's completely fine, I think.
Yeah.
Embiid getting healthier. You have Quinn and Grimes off the bench. You have BJ, looks like a stud day one. Tyrese Maxey, who's just like you said earlier, taking potentially another leap, and then like sneakily also not turning the ball over either. Through 4 games, he has
Maxey's a crazy
8 turnovers. 8 turnovers, averaging like 8+ assists, like, and also just like giving dudes the work. He's having like,
his handle's crazy. His
awesome.
handle looks crazy. And I remember that being like kind of something that was viewed as a weaker point with Maxey coming in was like, will his handle? Maybe I'm like misremembering, but I feel like there wasn't a lot of talk about his handle being elite. It was more so like he'll be an off guard kind of guy, and he looks like a legitimate lead ball handler now. What's crazy?
Averaging 37, 8 and 4 with only 2 turnovers.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know if I'll call this a take, but I have like a stance on Maxey, we'll say, that I think is really unique. So we saw it last year with McCain's rookie season. We've seen it with Quentin Grimes. We're seeing it with VJ. We've seen it in the past with guys like Buddy Hield or whatnot. I think it's really easy for guards to maximize their game next to Tyrese Maxey. Like, I just think he makes it so easy for backcourt partners because of the fact that you can't.
You didn't say Harden's name. I'm noticing.
No, yeah, but you can't scheme for speed is one thing. There's nothing you can do defensively that's like, okay, we're going to scheme for speed. If you're just faster than everyone, you're faster than everyone. The only way to really do anything about it is to pack the paint. You also can't, I mean, you can kind of scheme for it, but like, it's hard to scheme for elite, versatile pull-up three-point shooting. Especially when it's like Maxey can do it from like 30 feet out. And just legitimately torch you as a pull-up three-point shooter when he's got the shot going. So when you pair the speed and the pull-up shooting, it's kind of like this Damian Lillard-esque thing where if he comes off a screen, defenses have to kind of go into panic mode. Because like you can't let him turn the corner. You can't let him get to a layup or a floater. You can't let him get to the free throw line, which he's getting to a lot right now. But you also can't back off because he's going to hit the pull-up three at like a 40% clip, it looks like right now. So what ends up happening is if you just put another guard in the slot, the nail is always going to be occupied. You have to send that guy over. So a big part of VJ making the next play is every single time he touches the ball, it feels like he's getting a closeout. Or there's some kind of rotation from the middle of the floor for him to attack. And then with VJ, it's, I've got this explosive first step. I'm a super explosive leaper off of 1 or 2 feet. I've got great stride work. And I've even got a little bit of a mid-range game. So if you put me in these advantageous off-the-catch situations, I'm going to thrive. And so what we're seeing is this 1-2 punch between Maxey and Edgecombe that's just torching defenses with their shooting and slashing together. And it's been a joy to watch. I think the next step for VJ, and obviously we're only, 4 games into his rookie season, so there's so much room for growth. Main thing I've picked up on, just watching him, is he can really work on playing at a different speed. Like when he comes off the screen, it feels like sometimes he has one speed and it's like, I'm going to turn the corner, and if I can't get to the rim, I'm going to pull up for a quick midi. Where it's like, if you pause and take one extra dribble, you can maybe get a lob or a shovel pass or something like that. So I do think the next step for VJ is working on his pace off of screens or in isolation. But besides that, he looks awesome. And he already looks like an advanced NBA athlete 4 games into his career.
Yeah. I don't have much else to say about the Sixers. For me at least,
I don't have anything else at all. I'm kind of just, I'm tapped out.
Dallas is just wait and see. Although Max Christie, always get shout out my boy Max Christie.
Shout out Max Christie. Yeah,
he's such the like complimentary role player, bro.
I don't know what to do. Dallas is weird to me too, because like we knew the offense was going to be clunky. They have the worst offense in the league right now, which I don't think they're the worst offense in the league, but obviously it's going to be clunky, especially with this Cooper Flag point guard experiment. What's weird to me is their defense hasn't looked great yet. Like, that should have been immediate, I feel like. Right? Like, they should have immediately been a great offense. They have all the pieces. Or defense.
I mean, they should immediately be a great defense.
Yeah, great defense. That's a little bit weird to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's really just weird because they have all the defensive... Like, if you look at the rotation, the only negative defensive players they have are D'Lo and Clay. But between, like, AD, PJ, Coop, Max, Najee, Derek Lively, like...
That's a lot of good defenders.
That's either good to, like, all-NBA first-team caliber defense.
And Wemby made them look like
first-team all-defense.
He did. Made them look like middle schoolers.
I will say, like, they kind of like had some return to normalcy defensively against OKC. Like,
yeah,
held OKC to 101. Had OKC's a great fourth quarter where they made things interesting.
OKC's offense hasn't looked very good.
OKC's 5-0, and they haven't looked very good because they don't have my number 14th.
Okay,
so there we go. That is a great promo.
I like how we can say OKC. Like I can say OKC's offense hasn't looked that good, and they're still like the second or third highest net rating team, and they're 5-0. Like, the bar is so high for OKC that I say like they don't look that good offensively, and they're still like a league average offense. Like they're just such a good team.
Yeah. I'm like not worried about Dallas's defense. The part that like about Dallas that I obviously feel great about is, I mean, they just desperately need Kyrie back.
Yeah.
Like they just have no consistent half court creation. I mean, AD's fine. D'Lo is like regular season fine.
I don't even want to say AD's
you're
fine,
putting
dude.
so much.
I don't even want to say AD's fine because, like, dude, this shot's like, dude, why is he wastes like 16 seconds of clock to take a step back long too. Like,
That's your number 8th ranked player.
Dude, AD's shot selection baffles me when he's handling the ball. Like, he is like a 38% mid-range shooter taking step back long twos like he's Kevin Durant. It'll always baffle me. And I feel like AD's always gotten like AD's always gotten like in the minds of fans the like luxury of, I think it's because his jumper looks pretty. Like he aesthetically looks like a good shooter, but he's not. And it's like if Giannis was taking 12 step back long twos, we'd all be like, "What are you doing?" But like with AD, I feel like it's never been a talking point.
AD this year is shooting basically 3 long mid-range twos a game.
3-2
and shooting them at a 27% clip. On his career, he's averaging 4 long mid-range jumpers a game, shooting them at a 38% clip over his entire career.
38%, called it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily like. Obviously, 3 shots in the grand scheme of a game isn't some crazy drastic offensive negative.
Look at you, Hayden.
It's more so the manner in which they come in the offense that bothers me. Like he'll stand in that same pivot spot at the 16-foot marker for like 12 seconds while nothing happens on offense just to settle for that shot. Like we could have maybe set a dribble handoff or done something to at least improve the possession before we settle for that shot at the end of the clock anyways. No, I agree with you though. They desperately need a half-court creator. And I've liked what we've seen from Cooper Flagg, but he's not a point guard yet. I do like throwing him into the fire and getting him these developmental reps is pretty good though. I do like that. But in terms of like immediate winning basketball, I think they need Kyrie Irving back pretty desperately. Speaking of needing players, last thing we'll talk about, and this is just brief. What's kind of your take on like the Houston point guard situation thing, where they're just huge? They just do these huge lineup because statistically they've been an amazing offense, but like it hasn't looked good. It's looked ugly.
What I said when they first rolled it out and it caught some hate was, hey, cool story, bro, but like this is a gimmick. This is a gimmick. I do not buy it. So it'll win you some games. They'll win them 50 games. Like they're gonna walk into 50 games. I'm not worried about the Rockets whatsoever. But I mean, Sengun looks great. That was probably my biggest like opening night takeaway is that Sengun is awesome.
The volume 3-point shooting out of nowhere.
But yeah, like I mean, okay, that's cool.
All right.
I don't really buy it.
So we'll leave it on that note. There you have it. Are the Rockets a gimmick? Yes or no? Will Sean Davis? Me and Sean both didn't age too well in Rockets takes last season, so we'll see what happens this season. Maybe they just win a championship and Sean just looks like he doesn't know what he's talking about. Shocker. No, in all seriousness, we really appreciate you guys listening. Let us know what you thought about our top 25 players of the last season, 6 days into the new season. Let us know what you think about this early first week of the NBA season and what your kind of takes on each team are. Make sure to follow us on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, all that at @TylerBritton_ for my personal accounts. And of course, all of my main content can be found on Hoop Venue. Sean, you plug yourself. I don't even know where you're at these days. Where can I find you?
Just find me on Twitter at Sean_DAVI and follow me on Instagram at Sean_Davis23.
Bro doesn't exist on YouTube anymore. Didn't you just upload a Bronny James short today? I think I got a notie for that.
I did not upload that. That was not me.
Is there someone on your channel? Or am I like getting notifications from a different channel?
No, you saw it. You saw it.
So it was you.
It wasn't me.
It wasn't you. So you got hacked.
No, I did not get hacked. It did get posted, but I did not make it, and it was not me that uploaded it.
Okay, so Sean is hacked. Clearly, guys, the Los Angeles Lakers network channel is gone. He's
No,
hacked.
it's still there. Go follow it so you guys can still go subscribe to the Los Angeles Lakers Network YouTube channel. Go subscribe.
There we go. That's what the people wanted to hear, man. The Los Angeles Lakers Network. No, we really appreciate you guys listening, and we will catch you guys next time with more relevant basketball conversations.